by looking at sort of those different characteristics, her coloring, the shape of her face and her nose, and her tail, first and foremost. Seems to be a trend with me that the animals that I'm talking about, you can tell them apart by their tails. You want to look at that end. But with these guys, you can tell right away by looking at that tail that she is not a red fox, which is the one that you see pretty commonly around where we live. And that's because the tip of her tail is black. Red foxes, which come in 3 different color phases, will always have a white tip at the end of their big bushy tail. So you can tell whether that fox is red, silver, or a cross fox coloration that it is a red fox. So we know right away that that's not what she is. Our other options would be Arctic fox and gray fox. Now we've sort of given it away with her name, Cinder. She's a gray fox. They have a similar coloration to that cross color phase of the red fox, but they do have that black tip on the end of their tail, and that face is pretty distinct. Kind of that long nose with those dark marks sort of down in. Now this is an animal that you wouldn't commonly see around here. They are on a species at risk list. The kind of more common areas that you might find a gray fox in Ontario are in the Peely area and sort of north or beyond Thunder Bay. So it's kind of in very specific pockets, and most commonly in Ontario you probably see them around the Manitoba border. So they certainly aren't one that's common that you'll see moving around it, but they're one that you probably want to have maybe around where we live or around our farms, because instead of going for our chickens and things that maybe red foxes aren't favorites because of, these guys are going for small mammals. So rodents, which aren't necessarily a popular animal on a farm or in a barn, these guys go after those. But they're also omnivores. So they have a dentition that's sort of like a carnivore's dentition, but they do eat a little bit of both. So they'll eat berries, and they'll eat seeds, and they'll eat a bit of vegetation, as well as those smaller animals that they can catch. Now a really neat thing about them that kind of sets them apart from other canines is their ability to climb trees. So they have semi-retractable claws. So if you've ever had a cat nearby, or you've ever been petting a cat, they will have no claws one minute, and then the next minute they've got claws. So they do that kind of pawing thing, where they show you just how retractable their claws can be. These guys will always have claws or nails evident, but they're able to stick them out even further. So when she was younger, she came to us from another facility in the United States, and she was raised by our staff. Well, when she was very young, if she felt threatened or if she felt startled by something, she'd climb us like a tree. That was great if you were wearing enough layers. If you were in a t-shirt while you were handling her, you'd have the evidence of it up your arm. So those claws are definitely sharp, and they're excellent for climbing. So much so that when Mom has her young with her, she's going to teach them at a very young age how to kind of move around in the trees, how to climb the trees, and bounce from branch to branch. They're a lot safer up there than they would be down on the ground, so she teaches them pretty early on how to kind of move around and maneuver in the trees.